And now, I'm excited to introduce our speakers this evening. One sec. Brett Hamil is a cartoonist and comedian living in Seattle. He publishes a weekly political cartoon, Doom Loop, for the South Seattle Emerald and produces a live comedy show, Joketellers Union, at the Clockout Lounge. He's also, the author of 3 graphic novels. Tomo Nakayama has explored the lines between intimate indie folk, exuberant synth pop, and cinematic soundtracks for over 2 decades. His 4th album, Ocean, was released last year. Kenji Lopez-Alt is a former restaurant cook, New York Times columnist, and author of the James Beard Award-winning and best-selling books, The Food Lab and The Walk, as well as the children's book, Every Night is Pizza Night. Please join me, without further ado, in welcoming Burl Dirkman.
He's Burl, he's Burl, Dirkman.
What's up over there? How you doing? Look at these folks. How y'all doing? All right, yeah. You made it. Welcome. Let's give it up for Adriana with the introductions there. Let's give it up for Emily, who's producing this whole thing. And give it up for Pete in the booth over there, running the music, the sound, the slideshows. Oh, man, it is great to be here. And thank you all for coming out on a Saturday night. We'll get you out of here nice and early. You can have a good night's sleep. How's that sound? My name is Burl Dirkman. I'm a parenting lifestyle coach and semi-motivational speaker. Some of y'all say, what do you mean semi-motivational? Well, my talking can only get you halfway there. Do you understand? You got to do the rest. And then people say, well, what's a parenting lifestyle coach? Are you someone that gives people tips for how to be a better parent? That's not what I do. What I do is I try to help you learn how to make babies show you how to be a better person. Do you understand? Because I have dedicated my life to spreading the good news about the healing powers of babies. Who here has ever held a brand new baby hot out of the oven in their arms? And you just look down, you smell that new baby smell coming off them. It smells kind of like a freshwater aquarium with some copper in there, right? Just a fresh, hot baby. And you look and they can't even focus their eyes yet, but you know they can see things we can't because they came from the source of all life, didn't they? And they were just there. And you're like, tell me, what did you see out there? And they can't talk yet. So you just got to sit there and hold them and hug them and kiss them. So I do that. I travel all around. I go down on into Pierce County and a little bit of Kitsap. Just going around talking about babies. Of course, I appear at the Joketellers Union show at the Clockout Lounge. Any of y'all ever been to that show? By a round of applause. That's good. And they let me talk there. And of course, when I was going there, I realized very quickly there's not a lot of baby having folks in this crowd. It's all, it's all graphic designers who make ironic trucker hats and stuff that they sell in Ohio where they're no longer ironic. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I tried to find different ways to reach people and find them where they live and help them get through their lives and understand more about themselves. And that's the theme of this show, Power Through It. That's what I'm here to help y'all do tonight. Are you guys ready to power through it? What does it mean to power through it? It means to set your jaw against the wind and get after it, right? Get out there because you got stuff to do. The world's falling apart around you, but you got things that need to happen before you go to bed tonight. That's when you power through it. And I got a couple examples for you if you want to hear. When you might need to power through it. Work problems. Bills. You got bills that are due. Bad relationships. Your boss is a mean guy. You got car trouble. Your neighbor's angry. Your foot feels blurry sometimes in a way that you can't quite understand. How about when you went to go to work, the first thing you saw when you stepped out your door was a beautiful butterfly getting more and more entangled in a spider's web, destined to die. A drama playing out right there in front of you, and there's nothing you can do about it because you can't break up this is how nature intended, correct? Here's one. You look in your aging foster dog's eyes. And I don't mean to bum you out so early in the show. I just want to kind of set the stage. Your aging foster dog has a heartbreaking look of quiet dignity in their eye, which makes you feel guilty for not protecting them from whatever horrors they experienced before you got them that gave them that look of quiet dignity. Do you understand? Or let's say you take your almost stepson Julius, and it's that time of year, it's springtime, you're going to head down to the drainage culvert off State Road 67 so you can go look at the tadpoles turning into frogs. And you get there and you realize there's still no tadpoles, and there haven't been for about 3 years because of the chemicals. And you ask yourself, why do I keep bringing Julius back here to look at the tadpoles? I knew this is what was going to happen. And he's crying, and you get him a Slurpee. Other reasons you might need to power through it. You might never get to achieve your dream of becoming a stepdad. The moment you realize you're just a sad little guy who can't do anything right, but you want so much to believe that real human connection and kindness can change the world. But it turns out, probably not. But what if it could? Are you still on the hook for that? Recurring and persistent toenail fungus. You just got to power through these things. It's not going to go away overnight. None of the things you buy over the counter actually work. Or whatever specific challenges y'all are facing. I realize those were a little specific to me. Maybe there's something more universal there, though. Does anyone have anything they're powering through right now? What are you powering through? Challenges with tenants. What are they doing to you?
Just demonstrating rather dysfunctional behavior patterns.
Dysfunctional behavior patterns, and you're stuck with them.
I'm stuck.
All right. Who else? Who's got something they're powering through? Anyone else? Right over there. Challenges with landlords. We're all here tonight, folks. The whole world is right here. All right, well, let's get on to it. Before I start, I like to do a full disclosure of everything you're going to see, just to cover some bases here. Number one, I've never been accredited for anything by any organization, ever. Number two, I don't even really have that much confidence in my own ideas. Number three, in 1997, I was arrested in Tuscaloosa, Alabama for peeing on a police horse. And here's what happened, though. And I was at a rough point in my life, surrounded by hard men with no vested interest in my future, and I was intoxicated. And I did that to the horse. And the horse didn't really seem to be too bothered by it. It was just the cop on top of the horse that got really indignant. Let's see, next up, I am not an authorized spokesman for Makita Tools. I'm just a big fan of their great power tools. And now I want to just say there are some kids in the house, and I bill this as an all-ages show. And I just say, you know, this show is rated appropriate for all ages with parental guidance. It does contain themes of alienation, poverty, failure, recreational use of experimental trucker speed, and an unshakable sadness that seems to come from nowhere and everywhere at the same time. So if you brought your kid, it's up for every parent to decide for themselves whether they want their child to learn what it's really going to be like this soon. All right, let's get into it. First off, and before, I just like to, what I'm trying to do is create an emotional space for us where we can feel what we need to feel and figure out how we're going to power through it. So one of the things I like to do at the top of each show is I had a very strict upbringing. My father was a United States Marine Corps drill instructor, and my mother was also a United States Marine Corps drill instructor. So I lived in a very regimented, disciplined household. I had three brothers, I'm the fourth, and we used to have to wrestle for the good cuts of meat and such. So, of course, he eventually disowned me for joining a Creedence Clearwater Revival cover band. He found the music of John Fogerty to be rebellious and unpatriotic, and he disowned me and cast me out of my familial home. So I have a lot of issues tied up in that, as you might imagine. And so what I like to do to start off is I just like to confront John Dirkman and try to represent my point of view. So this is John Dirkman. You're a failure, Burl. Now, come on, I'm not. Look at all these people that came. Yeah, but it should be a much bigger draw considering the guests you've got booked tonight. Yeah, but look, it's a Saturday night. People have a lot of things they could be doing. Yeah, but you could irreparably damage the reputation of Town Hall Seattle. Now, come on. They're going to be fine with or without me, okay? You never should have joined that band. You never should have taken the path of an artist. Look at where it's led you. You're broke. You're not even a stepdad. You're renting a house and your landlord is infuriated with you. She says you're dysfunctional. Well, now, she could have a point there on that one, but Dad, I just want you to know that the reason I do these things and the reason I joined that cover band, clearly Creedence, was because I wanted to follow a path of my heart. I wanted to get somewhere in life that wasn't just laid out to me by my family and the way I was brought up. And here I am, thousands of miles away from Parris Island, South Carolina, in Seattle, Washington. And I'm here to talk to these people about their feelings, something that you never did with me. And if you would like to, I'd like to take this opportunity for us to talk about our feelings about each other. I gotta go now. Okay, that's good. All right. Thank you. That was Self-Doubt Corner, otherwise known as Stand Up to John Dirkman. And now I just want to get, so what I've learned to do at the Clock Out Lounge is that, no one has babies, so they don't want to hear about babies there. Or they have a baby and they got out for the night finally. So what I try to do is I try to find people where they live. So I've come up with ways, and I found that I have a knack for being able to tell something very deep about who you are, the essence of yourself, just by looking at some of the basic consumer goods you use on a daily basis. So I'd like to do that here tonight, if that's all right with you. What I'm going to talk about is what your choice of socks says about your upbringing. Socks are what ground you, don't they? They connect you to the earth. You put them on every day. They encase your feet in a nice, soft swaddling, and what you choose could be unconsciously saying something about who you are. So let's get right to it. Number one, white cushion crew socks. Where's my white cushion crew sock people? Wow, okay, y'all are probably not going to like where this is headed. So me and my three brothers, Barry, Birch, and Benji. Barry was, of course, named after the 1964 Republican candidate for president, Barry Goldwater. Birch was, of course, named after the United States intelligence agent who was killed in China at the end of World War II. And Benji was named after the famous dog in the movies. And, of course, I'm Burl. I was named after the dense, knotty lump that sometimes forms on the side of a tree. So I was the second youngest of this family. So I got all hand-me-downs from my two brothers, Barry and Birch. And the only thing I didn't get hand-me-downs of was socks. Every year for Christmas, they got us a 10-pack of white cushion crew socks from Kmart. And what that came to mean for me was wealth, really. To have some nice clean socks that someone didn't already wear for a couple years beforehand, and now I still wear them. I'm wearing some right now, look at that. I still wear these socks. And now I just throw them out when they even start to sag. And I'm not rich. Next one. I call this them Dirkman boys. Next one, dress socks. If this is you, if you're wearing dress socks right now, your parents set you up for success. Possibly as a substitute for no real emotional connection. And you made it through life without ever having a job where you need to wear work boots. You were not sent out into the world as a person who would be required to know about sweat wicking and would never have to address jungle rot as an ongoing concern. I call these must be nice. Next one, funky patterned socks. You see a lot of those here in Seattle. There's a bunch of them out there. If this is you, here's what you're going to learn about yourself. You had supportive liberal parents who are still happily married. You talk to them just like any other adult friend. They ask for your movie and television recommendations. They know you're in a throuple. And your mom was the only reason the crowdfunding campaign for your lo-fi ambient album was successful. So I call these Mom Backs My Kickstarter. Next up, wool socks, also very popular in Seattle. This is you. The matriarch of your family was an older butch lesbian who kept the AC way too cold. And in your teen years, she was overly frank and detailed about the level of satisfaction you should expect from your intimate partners. You grew up to be someone who encases yourself whenever possible in a scratchy substance grown by animals who are bred to stand in the snow and ruminate. And that's your mom? And I call these Rhonda's eldest. Next one, separated toe socks. Let's not shame anyone here. But if this is you, if you're wearing separated toe socks, you were either coddled and pampered to a level that left you with no capacity for self-assessment, or you witnessed horrors too unimaginable to even mention. Either way, it's a problem. They say these socks are often worn by runners, but it's time to consider what you're running from. I call these yikes. And finally, fingerless toe socks. If this is you, you had a dysregulated and/or overindulgent upbringing, just like full toe sock, but you are trapped in that vicious cycle of abuse or mollification, depending. Now you've become the bully. As you can see here, I call this the bully, and that's what you look like to me. The very existence of your socks is a cruel taunt that should outrage all normal people. You're a bully. Okay, and then that's what I aspire to be. Some Makita logo socks. And I just want to remind you that we are not bound by our upbringing to stick with the socks that I just made fun of right now. You can switch at any time as adults. And kids, ask your parents. All right. Now let's get into, are you guys ready to talk to some guests and get into some... Our very first guest, I'm so honored to have this man up here. I took a swing. I said, this guy, I got to know more about him. He knows so much, and I wanted just a little taste of what he might have to share. As they said before, he's a best-selling author. He won the James Beard Award twice. And I've been watching his videos. He has so much insight about food and culture and why it tastes good and stuff. Please give it up for Kenji Lopez-Alt, everybody. Come on up here, Kenji. There he is. Oh, no socks at all. He beat it. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Burl. How you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm excited to have you here. As I was saying, I've been watching your videos. I watched your General Tso's chicken video. Mm-hmm. And the wealth of knowledge you bring, and if y'all are familiar with his work, you know, just the wealth of, there's talking about alkalines and acids, and you know so much about food and culture, and it just blows my mind. So I just want to start right off by asking you a question straight from the heart.
Yeah.
Which is, what do you relate to more? Do you relate more to mascots who want to be eaten? Or do you relate more to mascots who do not want to be eaten? Like we have this is the Chick-fil-A cows, and then there's also, the Cheez-It one doesn't want to be eaten. So which do you?
I relate more to mascots that do not want to be eaten.
Do not want to be eaten.
Yeah, I feel like Tony the Tiger is a persona, but he's also entitled to his private life.
Well, Well, I don't think Frosted Flakes are supposed to be made out of actual tigers either.
No, that's true. But he does not want to be eaten, I'm pretty sure.
Because I take it the other way. I'm like, if there's some greater power that wants to consume me and dissolve me into my constituent parts, make it today. Do you think food wants to be eaten?
Well, it depends on the food. I mean, fruits want to be eaten. They want their seeds spread, but cows probably not.
Yeah, it's the whole meat question.
Yeah. And certain other parts of plants probably don't want to be eaten, but I'm not sure that plants have consciousness. So,
well, that's a good one. That's kind of depressing if they do, isn't it? Oh, God, no. Here he comes with the bag. Can you tell us all how you got your start and what drove you to do what you now do?
Yeah, well, I was in college and I was a biology major, and then after a couple of summers working in biology labs and like some semesters working part-time in biology labs, I realized I like biology, but I don't like working in biology. I don't like lab work, so I decided to switch majors after the sophomore year of my college, and I was actually looking for a job in Boston as a server. This was after, at first I went to the Brattle Street Florist, which is in Harvard Square, and I tried to get a job working in a flower shop for the summer, but it was a family business, so they didn't allow me. But then I walked around looking for a job as a server, and one of the restaurants I walked into, they told me that there was a prep cook who didn't show up that morning, so if I could hold a knife and start working immediately, that I could have a job for the summer. So I lied and pretended I'd actually held a knife in my life before, and got the job for the summer. And I was I don't know if anyone's familiar with a restaurant called Fire and Ice in Boston. I don't know if it exists anymore, but it was like a Mongolian grill type place where you go up to you get like a little pallet, and then you go up to a bar and you get raw meat and vegetables and spread them out on your pallet, and you hand them to the guy in the middle who's standing in the middle of this big iron grill. So I got a job initially as a prep cook, but within 2 weeks I was promoted to Knight of the Round Grill, which is...
You were the guy that they hand the meat to.
I was the Knight of the Round Grill, yeah.
And the power that must have felt for you, because they're like supplicants. Please grill this meat.
Oh, yeah.
And so what you're saying is your entire illustrious career you owe to a prep cook who was hungover.
Yeah, for sure.
Forgot to set his alarm.
Hungover prep cook plus hard work and passion and a lot of luck.
That too. Oh, sure. Yeah. Well. But so I'm interested in the parallels because I grew up chasing hurricanes and hanging drywall in the coastal Southeast, installing rain gutters, and I was just thinking how much alike cooks are to that, because it's a very physical job. It wears on your body really hard. Sometimes you're going to be in there rubbing shoulders with pretty rough people, right? And I have noticed that recently in some of your social media, you've been talking about bad bosses. Yeah. Can you describe that situation to me in the culinary world?
Yeah, well, I started cooking, when was it, like 1999 or 2000, something around then. At that time, Anthony Bourdain's first book had just come out, Kitchen Confidential, and I was like a teenager, and I thought it was like the coolest thing. Because, I wanted to be a musician, I wanted to be a rock star, something like that, and I was like, well, like, if I can't be that, then like, being a cook's like the next coolest and the next closest thing,
Why is that? Can you explain? I understand what you're saying, but why is that? What is that?
I think it's like it's like sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but without the rock and roll part.
Okay.
Sex, drugs, and foie gras, So, at the time, the Food Network was around. It had started a few years before that. But being a chef was not like there were no celebrity chefs really at the time. And most kitchens were kind of staffed by people who couldn't find jobs elsewhere, who had like mental health issues or things that made it difficult for them to work in other environments and kitchens. At that time, were sort of very strict, regimented places that, so you would work 12, 16 hours a day, you would do exactly what you were told, and then you'd repeat it. And, so kitchen culture, it evolved, at least modern kitchen culture, this sort of brigade system, evolved from from France when cooks were essentially indentured servants. But it started out as like a huge power imbalance between the customers and the kitchen, the people eating and the people working in the kitchen, and between the chef and the cooks. So there's always been this built-in kind of hierarchy, this built-in power structure that over the years has been abused a great bit. It almost, in many ways, it feels like a fraternity hazing ritual, you know, where like when you're the new guy, you get all the crappy jobs, you get picked on, sometimes you get physically abused or certainly yelled at all the time. The funny thing about it is that generally it's sort of the nicer the restaurant you're working at, like the more fancy the fine dining place, the less you'll be paid. Oftentimes you'll be paid nothing. You just have the honor of working there, and the more difficult the work will be. There is this sort of Stockholm syndrome type thing to it, where the most abusive chefs are the ones who are also the most charming and charismatic, and so they have this ability to push you and scream at you and belittle you and get you to the point where you're just on the edge of quitting or walking out. They'll say they're doing it to weed out the weak ones or whatever. But then, and this happened to me multiple times. It's like, all right, I'm going to go down to the office and I'm going to tell the chef exactly what he's doing and why I'm quitting and why I'm leaving today and why he has to find another cook and he's screwed for service tonight. And I'll go in there, and then like 10 minutes later, I'm walking out the door like thanking him and thinking that, thanking him for the honor of working here and feeling like I'm useful and like I belong here and like I'm strong enough to be able to hack it here, and that's a theme I hear with a lot of cooks. The stuff that's going on in the news right now is about Noma, which has been called the best restaurant in the world by several organizations that I think should all be abolished. But the controversy is that, well, for a long time he wasn't paying his what are called stages. So when I was growing up cooking, or when I was growing up in the restaurant world, a stage was something where you did when you had a little bit of time off. So I would take like a week off. I went to London and I worked at like 3 or 4 different restaurants for a couple nights in each place, right? And to me, that's like a very useful thing to do. You get to see how a different chef thinks, how a different restaurant operates, and that was sort of a stage in the true sense of it, where they weren't gaining any benefit from having me there. I wasn't taking the place of a worker. I wasn't, if anything, it cost them to have me there because people had to put in the time to show me things. Whereas at some of these restaurants, the way the stage culture that they have is that instead of hiring workers, they will just get people to come and work for them. So at Noma, there was 30 stages to 36 paid cooks, and the stages are there doing the same task every day, and they're completely unpaid. And this again goes. Well, an unpaid stage is like an unpaid internship, where if you have the luxury of being able to do that, then you're able to take 3 months off of doing any work at all just to go and devote yourself to doing this. And maybe it looks good on your resume, but it's very selective about who's able to even begin to do that kind of thing. And then on top of that, it was just one of the most. The New York Times story came out and cataloged. It was some 30-something different people that Julia Moskin spoke to, and the level of sort of physical and verbal and mental abuse that these people said went on in that kitchen is like. Up until then, the worst kitchen I had ever stepped foot in and seen operate was one of Gordon Ramsay's restaurants.
That's what I was gonna guess.
But then I saw this, and it made everything look like, oh my goodness, like it was unbelievable, the kind of stuff that people were saying.
So people put up with this because they think I'm getting close to this guy who's a real artist, who's really good at what they do.
Well, so you mean that's the thought that some people have. Well, initially you do it because it's like, yes, you go into these positions because you have the opportunity to experience greatness, whatever. What someone defines as greatness, some people will say, well, they could have walked away at any point, they weren't forced to be there, which sounds like the way you talk poorly about someone in an abusive relationship, the point that some people make is like, well, okay, he threatened them, so like, if you walk away from this, you're never going to work in the restaurant industry again, or if you walk away from this, we're going to deport you and your family, things like that, and that's horrible. But having been on the other side of that, I know the feeling of, I fully understand why there are people out there now who are saying, oh, like, well, I had these experiences too, and they've made me a better person, and like I don't think the industry can operate any other way. And it really is this like psychological like gaslighting and Stockholm effect where you're in this situation and you don't and when you're in it, it's very difficult to see it from the outside, and the only thing you really care about is like getting this person's approval, and as soon as you get that approval, you feel amazing. And I had the benefit of having worked in the restaurant world for a number of years and then taking like a 15-year break before I went and opened my own restaurant. So I moved on to writing and recipe development and that kind of stuff. I can tell you about why I did that at some point, but and so and in those 15 years and through opening the restaurant, I also had the benefit of like going through therapy and like figuring all these things out. And so looking back, I see, that's why I stayed. That it wasn't fear of being like blackballed. It wasn't fear that I wouldn't get a job somewhere else. It was really like I wanted to be there because I thought if I stick this out, it like means I'm worthy, And so I think that's the reason a lot of people do it, and the reason a lot of people still who have never taken a step back from the industry and been able to look at it from the outside. With that benefit, why a lot of people who have been in the industry since they started and are still in the industry now see it that way. They think it's it's building character. It's making you a better person. It's making you a better cook. And that part's sad. And I'm glad that there is now both external and internal pressure, and at the very least like a spotlight on the best and the most famous restaurant in the world, where we can sort of start to hopefully examine these things and get to a better place.
This is very validating to me. Thank you. That was explained a lot. I mean, because there was a point where I was like, well, I can go wash dishes or I can join this drywall crew. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm going to do the drywall because it seems too messy in the kitchen. And so I've avoided all of that.
Drywall dust is like the
drywall's
messiest
pretty
thing.
bad too, yeah, but what do you have to power through? What do you power through? And how do you power through it? What are your challenges now? Because you're a guy who, you travel around eating different foods, making videos, making books. Mm-hmm. What are your challenges?
Oh, I mean, well, a bunch of things. Raising good kids, that's a big challenge, and certainly like balancing work and life and being a father, finding the time to do all that is challenging. I find sleeping to be very challenging. Also, as my career has progressed and become sort of increasingly more public, really finding that balance between what I keep to myself and what I share is difficult. The comments and sort of the trolls that come with like being a public figure, that's also a challenge, And I do like to read the comments because I like to, for every bad comment, there's probably like 10 really interesting ones, and I always like to know like what people are thinking, what they're curious about. I like to get tips for where to eat in Seattle, so I do read all my comments, but that means that I also read the bad ones. And
what are they doing? They're trashing your technique, or?
No, I mean most of the time they are coming up with some. So, the thing you always have to tell yourself, and the thing I always tell myself, and that my therapist says I should tell myself, is that virtually 100% of the time, if someone is out there like trash talking, it's a them issue. It's them who has the problem, and not you. And they're out there projecting something. So some of the comments are like, oh, like he was a violent, abusive alcoholic, and that's why his wife left him. And it's like, okay, true. I am an alcoholic, and I'm in AA now. And two, I did get divorced in the past couple of years, but all that, like, yeah, violent and abusive, and his wife left him. So like, that's all just completely made up. And so when it's something like that, where it's like so far out of the realm, that's easy to just brush off. But then every once in a while, there's something that like hits a little bit close to home, and those are the ones where it's like, okay, like why is why did this particular comment bother me more than anything else? And that generally takes, some level of sort of stopping and
Because that
thinking
person's
yourself
really good at messing with people.
Well, yeah, or they accidentally like hit the hammer a little too close to the nail, you know.
You were telling me, and I've noticed this before, that chefs and cooks are tool people.
Oh yeah.
You use tools. Because I'm always trying to find common ground here. Drywalling, rain gutters, and then some kind of souffle. You understand? There's a connection there. What? Talk about your tools. What's the best tool? What's the best tool you can have? You're gonna say knife, probably.
Good knife is good. I mean, chefs and I think any profession, like when you get down to it, is like it's full of nerds. Like whoever operates at a high level in a specific profession, they're gonna start caring about like the numbers and the tools and and all that, and comparing stats of things, so they can do their job just a slight bit better. You know, with chefs, it's very often the knife and what kind of metal it's made from. In fact, I'm going to Japan in a few weeks just to go visit a mountain where the steel that's going to be used to make these knives that my friend and I are producing, to see the mountain where the steel comes from, and then go to the factory where the steel is made, which is not something I have to do, but it's going to be really cool.
Oh, you got to see where the steel comes from.
A knife. I mean, a knife, a cutting board, and a pan are like a wok.
A wok. You're a big wok
Those
guy.
would be like, and a heat source. Like those are three things. With those three things, you can make a lot of really good food. You know, those are like the three chords of
All right.
4 chords.
Tell them. So just to give them a taste, if you haven't seen some of his videos, explain the wok and why a wok.
Well, a wok is like a curved pan from China. I mean, the wok. So the wok, because it's, you know, I worked from the time I started. I got my first wok when I was like right around when I started working in restaurants. In fact, a little bit before that. I bought it from Target in Somerville when I was in college, and it was just a plain old carbon steel 14-inch wok. You know, I grew up. My mom is Japanese, and she cooked in a wok frequently growing up. But that pan, I used it for 20 years straight, and it was like, I mean, by far the most used pan in my kitchen, and it cost me like $40 at Target. And you know, the reason I love woks is because, well, they're great for a lot of things. Obviously,
There's science to it.
Yeah, well, obviously they're really good for stir frying. Like they're designed for stir frying, which should really be called toss frying. But they're also great at many other things. So like if you're steaming, right? Like they have that wide shape so you can fit any size steamer in there, and have it above the water. You know, so like a stack of bamboo steamers of any size you can work with in any wok. So it's great for steaming things. I think it's the best vessel for deep frying, because when you have a you know, a lot of people will recommend a Dutch oven for deep frying, other than a commercial fryer. Like a fryer later is great for deep frying, but at home, you know, if you have a straight-sided Dutch oven, something like that, you know, you fill the oil up, you put your food in, and if your food like maybe accidentally has some ice crystals on it or a little bit too much moisture, you know, it starts to bubble up. And in a cylindrical pot, you know, the area, the volume above the oil surface it's linear, you know, it doesn't change. The higher it gets, higher and higher and higher, and there's not much room for it to expand, so eventually it can boil over. Whereas with a wok, you have this really wide flared shape, so if you start to boil over, the bubbles go up, but then they spread out, and it's a much less chance of oil bubbling over. It also gives you a lot more room to sort of work in there. Similarly, that's why I think a wok is a great tool for boiling ravioli, like boiling delicate pasta. You have a lot of room to kind of work with a spider and get around in there. You can smoke things in a wok. You can braise things in a wok. You can sear things. You can make eggs. I mean, it's just like an extraordinarily versatile and time-tested tool.
See, I just wanted them to get a taste, because you can explain. He'll explain in his videos because the heat goes out this way, or right, and it just, I never thought of food that way. There's a science to it.
Well, I mean, science is just a process, and you can apply it to everything.
And there's an expert. Well, I'm only bringing this up because I want to talk about power tools.
Yeah.
And just while I'm on that slide, Makita's cordless products deliver the power, speed, and runtime to handle any project, from wood and metalworking to concrete and dust extraction. And having said that, and that's my chosen brand, what's your favorite brand of power tool?
I mean, favorite brand, or the one I have the most of?
That'll do.
Because you know, the ones I have the most of, I started out like in a little shed. I started my, you know, woodworking and furniture making career in a small shed in San Mateo with a very small budget because I didn't know what I was doing. So I do have, I hate to say it, I do have a ton of like old Ryobi tools. Yeah.
I just he had told me this, but and someone who we're both friends with, Katie Wilson, who's now our mayor,
Yeah.
was on our last show, and I asked her what type of drill she had, and she also has a Ryobi, and I said that's bad and never
Yeah.
do that. And then she explained to me that for a working class person who has limited funds, it was
Yeah,
the best she could do.
you can get a drill and driver set for like $99 with
So
batteries. You know,
I'm trying to not be judgmental.
But my favorite tools, I've got a couple of favorite tools. I do have a Makita orbital sander. Love that.
Yep.
I got a Festool dust extractor.
Okay.
And what else? I've got a Makita cordless.
Reciprocating saw?
No. The guy.
A circular saw. Or
Yeah. Circular stuff. Sorry, I was blanking my head there.
But do you have the
And
track
the coolest, yeah.
Okay, see that. All right, I knew I liked you.
And my favorite tool is I got it from a guy who made furniture in Redmond a few years ago, and it's like a 1970s big cast iron table saw.
Yeah.
I think the company is Bear.
It's a Bear,
maybe?
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Bear. It's a big green thing, and it's a pain in the ass to move.
See, because I knew you tool guys. They just you know he's going to have some good taste in tools if he's.
What's your favorite knife?
Well, I got it when I was living in a single wide trailer on a reclaimed potato field down in Volusia County, Florida, and I don't know the brand because it's all worn off. You can't read the label anymore. But
What kind of steel is it made of? Yeah.
I have no idea.
Do you know what the Rockwell hardness
I
index
see what
is?
you're doing here. See, this is how he builds a viewership. He's negging me like those chefs. You understand? He's like, you're not good enough yet, but you can be.
Yeah, well, we all know that like a good craftsman, the tools are what makes the craftsman.
Absolutely.
Right?
You're only as good as your tools. Let me just ask you one more question, and there's all these folks out here. There's probably a lot of foodies. Is that offensive to call them that, or?
You can call them whatever you want.
You call,
yeah.
oh, okay. Oh, good. You call yourself a food nerd.
Sure,
Which
yeah.
it says on your website, and I said, I don't know if I should do that. How does a guy like me, who's not very cultured and doesn't have much education and doesn't really have good taste, how do I become someone who can appreciate food more? Watching your videos helps with that, but what can I do to like expand that?
Well, I mean, reading and finding someone you admire and who teaches in a style that speaks to you. But you know, I think learning about food, it's the same way that you would learn about start to appreciate nice furniture by learning about like. Okay, like it's better to use like a mortise and tenon than to use like breakdown screws, right?
Yeah.
You know, and so you can look at a bed and say that's a bed, and then from there you can start to learn more details about it and what the person who made that bed was thinking, right? Or like music, right? It's like you can hear a song that comes up on shuffle on whatever you listen to music to, and you can enjoy the song the same way you can enjoy the taste of a dish that you ate, but when there's real sort of craftsmanship behind it and real work and passion that goes into it, it usually pays to learn who made it and why, and learn a little bit about their life, learn about their culture, their upbringing, and how they were able to produce and why they produced this thing that they did. You know, and I think that's true for virtually anything. You know, especially sort of arts and crafts type stuff. You know, where I think. A chef, you know, who is like technically someone who leads a kitchen, a chef like early in their career, a lot of the food that they make might just be sort of emulations of things that they've learned from other chefs, places that they've worked. And so it takes a lot of work in the same way that someone who learns, you know, to play classical music, like the first pieces that they're composing might be very derivative of Bach or Beethoven or whatever, you know, whoever they love. I think for a craftsman or an artist, it takes a long time to learn who you are, and learn what in your craft makes you you, and how to express that, and how to bring that forward. So with food, I think what you do with in order to get into it, just start by asking yourself what you like, and it's fine whether it's a chicken and bacon pocket from Costco.
Man, he's really nailing me tonight, huh?
Or a hot dog or whatever, or a burger at the stadium, or if it's fancy food, or if it's food from a certain region of the world, So you figure out what you like, then from there, find the people who are doing it well, and then learn more about them. I think that's how you sort of, when you realize that nothing comes from nowhere, and that everything has a story, and everything has a history, and that history can range from one person's particular story with that to an entire culture's story, or the crossing of cultures. Once you start to look at all those things, I think your eating experience, or your listening experience, or your admiring of chairs experience becomes a lot richer, and it just leads you sort of further and further into appreciation. And then you also have to cook a lot. If you want to get good at cooking, you have to cook a lot in practice. Yeah.
Thank you, Kenji. That's some great advice, and I'm going to go out there and try some new foods.
Yeah, we should
and
do it
keep
together.
watching your channel. Thank you, Kenji. I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
being on my show. Let's hear it for him. I love the way he breaks things down like that. Let's all get out there and eat some stuff. All right. Look, we're gonna keep it moving here. I got one more guest for y'all tonight, and it's a good one. It's you're gonna love him. He just put out his 4th album. It's called Ocean. It's now out. He's fixing to tour Japan. He's a Seattle songwriter, singer, musician. Please give it up for Tomo Nakayama. Come on up here, Tomo. Oh, there he is. Tomo!
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
I'm having a great time. Yeah, this is a fun show.
Did you feel you learned some stuff about
A
lot of things?
Yeah. Whole lot. Yeah. I'm going on tour in Japan in April, so I'm gonna have to climb my own
Get some
mountain
Rex
and,
from. I bet you he's
look
been
for
there.
metal, I guess.
Oh, you're gonna get some steel.
Steel,
You should go
yeah.
and underbid on the steel, because with the tariffs and all, you could actually end up on top.
Right. Yeah.
So, the reason I asked you to be on this show, of course, you composed the theme song that was played at the beginning of the show. My theme song, which I play every time I appear on stage, is a beautiful. You probably don't even remember it.
Yeah. I think it was pre-COVID.
It was. I think it was during COVID. I said, Tomo, can you just put me something together real quick? I'll give you a few shekels, and you probably don't even remember it because you just are always writing songs. And one of the qualities I like about you and your music is it hits an emotional. It strikes an emotional chord in me. Do you get that reaction from people a lot?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I try to be as open, and I've been doing this for 20 years, so yeah, I've been gone through many iterations and style of music and things like that. But I just always come back to the song itself, and I try to communicate whatever's happening in my life at that moment, and yeah,
Because that's the thing about music is it hits you in a way that just words or other types of art can't hit you.
Yeah, there's a real. I don't think I'm a very good writer of words necessarily, but when you set it to music, there is like a special alchemy that happens.
Yeah.
That like can convey an idea that's bigger than words or pictures. Yeah.
How do you cry a lot? I try to cry every day. I just
Do you try to cry?
And what I'll do, I keep a cryery, which is it's a crying journal, and I try to write down, saw the butterfly in the spider web, and then right. So, do you cry a lot? What makes you? When's the last time you cried tears of joy?
Tears of joy. I think when the Mariners. Won
Okay,
the
I thought.
And then I cried tears of sadness when they lost.
Yep, there you go.
But yeah, and movies. I watched Hamnet. I cried at that.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe I don't cry enough in my everyday life.
You got to try to make it happen as often, because it's like a spa treatment for your soul. But you are out there making the music, so you're already in touch with these sort of inner forces that some of us can't marshal on our own.
Well, I think that's why I make music, to like kind of open myself up to that, because yeah, I find that that's the way that I kind of connect with my own whatever's going on inside. It's like through the process of writing, I figure out what's actually going on in my head.
And do you feel like non-musicians are less in touch with their feelings? Because they have to use your music to feel something.
No, I think
you're the one. You're the dealer,
everybody's-
right? You're the source. Give us that good stuff.
Yeah, no, I everybody's got their own language and their passions, and I think like music is my power tool, of
All right, all
that's the
right.
thing that I'm passionate about and gives me purpose. So.
One of the things I like is your choice of chords, and there's often a real melancholy feel about it that you do. And I don't want to say sad, because sometimes they're hopeful and uplifting, but at the same time, there's this melancholy edge to it. And I was just wondering if you could, because I'm a big Creedence fan. Could you? Do you think you could play a Creedence song like you would play? Like you would compose it?
What song?
Do you know? How about "Looking Out My Back Door"?
I mean,
Because I got the words right here.
Okay.
If you want to give it a shot? Yeah. Here, hold on. Let me get this over here. So Tomo Nakayama playing Creedence, like Tomo Nakayama would.
So you want people to cry after this?
I mean, we'll see.
Okay. Just got home from Illinois. Lock the front door, oh boy. Got to sit down, take a rest on the porch. Imagination sets in. Pretty soon I'm singing, do, 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 looking out my back door. Tambourines and elephants are playing in the band. Won't you take a ride on the flying spoon? Dinosaur Victrola, listening to Buck Owens, do, 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 looking out my back door, do, 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 looking out my back door.
I can't believe it. It sounds like you wrote that song. That was beautiful. Thank you. What a gift. How do you power through it? I'm trying to get these folks to understand. You got to put your head down and throw your tool belt on. What do you have to power through?
All sorts of things. I don't know. Like every time I'm trying to write a song, there's so many levels of self-doubt and frustration. And
Do you need to talk to John Dirkman?
I think.
Tomo, why would you be an artist in Seattle? Have you seen the rent prices?
I have. Yeah.
No, you're supposed to stand up to him.
Oh.
Tell him. The whole point is you're supposed to say, no, this is me.
No, this is how I am with my dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I don't want to.
It's true. I know I don't make a lot of money, but I like making music, and you're freaking me out, man. It brings me joy, and but
I still don't like it.
but there are other people who do. Art's it's subjective, so.
Okay, we'll count that. Because at first I thought you were just going to take it, but you did get your jabs in too.
Yeah, I just do my thing, and hope he doesn't notice. But I don't know. I mean, making music really helps, and taking my dog out for walks helps. Like, whenever I'm like having like a bad day and I'm like feeling really low and not really into, but you still got to take the dog out, because she has to do her business. So I take her out, and I'll just be like looking at my phone or whatever, not paying attention, and then I see her getting like really disengaged and sad, and then so I'm like, oh, I don't want her to feel sad, So then I start jumping around and acting happy, and then by pretending that I'm happy, I kind of feel better myself, And so,
That's better concrete advice than anything they've gotten from me tonight, by the way. Just trick your dog and get through it.
Yeah. They're really magical. I love dogs, yes.
And what's your dog's name?
Mochi.
Mochi. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
She is a corgi.
Uh-oh.
And she used to have an Instagram account called Mochi the Corgi, but it got hijacked by a different Mochi. So I guess I didn't post enough or something. But.
Okay, I thought you were going to say you got scammed or something.
No. That was a tangent. What was the question?
Oh, you were just told us that's how you power through it. You get out there, you walk your dog, you do the things you're supposed to do. You got other people depending on you.
Yeah, and hide from my dad.
Hide from your dad. You got a band depending on you. You're going to drag a whole band over to Japan. For this steel thing.
Right. Yeah, we're all going to look for.
How are you going to explain this to your band? Well, guys, there's a mountain up there, and this guy Kenji wants it.
I got to get there first. Yeah. It's I've gone there several times on tour, but this is the first time in many years that I've gone with I'm going with a band. So it's always more fun to like travel with friends and kind of see things through their eyes too. They haven't experienced it before, so it'll be a lot of fun, I think.
Well, I wish you the best of luck on that tour, and I could not let you leave here and could not end this show before we got a chance to hear you play one of your songs, not just the brilliant work of John Fogerty. But I want to mix it up because it's my talk show. I get to do whatever I want to do on this show, and so what I wanted to do was I thought because your music stimulates me emotionally so much, what I did was I made a video of things that make me cry, like a montage.
Okay.
And then and don't start it yet, Pete, but I'll tell you when. But so what I was thinking was, do you think you could play one of your songs and then we will play the video so you'll have kind of an audio and visual experience? and I just want to warn y'all, if you are emotionally sensitive, there will be footage of children being reunited with their dogs. There's some of kids asking their stepdad to adopt them. And some other things that could, but only good things, tears of joy. Right? Are you guys on board? You think we could do this? Okay. Once he starts singing, you can, and Pete's going to start the video, but you go ahead and get your thing started, and then we'll.
All right.
I hear music from the next room, music from the next room. Sometimes I am amazed. Sometimes I do forget. What a gift to be free. What a gift to be me. To hear music from the next room, music from the next room. To hear music from the next room, music from the next room. So slow down, stretch out and wait. See how our bodies sway. Some days I do regret. Some days I just forget. I play music with my old friends, music with my old friends. I play music with my old friends, music with my old friends. Oh, what a gift to be born, what a gift to be alive.
Whoa. Whoa. Tomo Nakayama, everybody. Beautiful. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you all for coming out. This has been Power Through It with Burl Dirkman. We'll see you here next time. Remember to feel your feelings, cry when you need to, and keep them babies smiling. We'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye, y'all.